Hi everyone, welcome to 12 at 12. I just want to make sure you can hear me all right and I don't sound like a chipmunk. If you can you give me a little hands up or say sounds good? All right, thanks Nancy. It's not quite noon, so I'll wait a second. Thank you, Kathy, appreciate it, and thank you, Hannah. I just have a weird glitch sometimes where the audio sounds like a chipmunk. So glad it's not working that way today. Yeah, so I'm going to wait till noon. Make sure everybody's logged in. Of course, if you have any questions, let me know in the questions area. And check the chat area. Most of you, I'm sure, have done this. Check the chat area for the link to the punch card. My presentation will be at the top when you choose presentations. All right, looks like we're all set. So today, given that we all have finally been fully converted, and I think we've had enough time to be working within Brightspace to identify both its maybe shortcomings, but also hopefully identify some of the ways to improve upon our experiences in e-college. I'm simply going to give three somewhat unrelated, this is kind of a random maybe, I think two are somewhat related, but little things that you may not have noticed. I'm sure everyone has kind of seen or experienced the ways in which going through one form, the learning path or the discussions or the submissions, gives you, for some reason, a different view. Or if you're logging in for the first time and setting up your courses, if you're doing course or the initial threads, it's got to be done through the learning path, not through the discussion link. So there's a lot of weird little glitches like that. So I'm hoping maybe this is new to you. If it's not, one of them might be, I hope. Some of it might just be no-brainer information, but I'm going to share it anyway. So I'm going to just do 3 hints and tips for Brightspace. Number 1, using upload create or add a description for reminders, clarification, or supplementary material within the milestone or the learning path. Then some basic copy course content from previous classes into new classes, which I think is something that may serve all of us well when we're doing course setups in particular, to maybe make that a bit more efficient and not be so time consuming and cumbersome. And then last, just this little thing that you may not even seen has been added to D2L or Brightspace is the little search box. And the ways that you can use that with the sort by and the discussion threads, particularly when they get up to 2, 3, 4, 5 pages long, which I'm sure we all love scrolling through. This is a way, and not just a way that helps you, but may also help your students. So let's, I'm not going to really spend any time on the PowerPoint. We're just going to go into the Brightspace. Everybody can see this, all right? Just double check, I suppose. I should make sure that's good. Okay, good. Thank you, Tammy. Jerry said Alvin. Anyway, no time for questions. I got to move. All right. Okay, so we're going to start with the using upload, create, and add description. So what I do for my American Popular Culture class, when I see that they have problems, we don't have a textbook for this class, so I like to include supplementary information that helps supplement the lectures. So they have some easy access to research material. I put that in the instructions area underneath the task button. So to do that, if you're clicking on it, that just takes you to the information. Those are the normal instructions. This is probably clear to everybody, but obviously if you want to add something to the description, you have to do the edit in place, which is now gone. Add description. Now you can add supplementary information. Now, Doug has pointed out to me that when you do that, make sure that either you add a little note so that they know that they have to click on that for the full instructions, because you will, of course, get students who think that this is the instruction area. I think for this particular course, it's very clear that it's not, but just to make sure that they realize that they need to click on that if they are going through the learning path and trying to skip around. Anyway, I could just take this text, copy and paste it, update. Now, that way they know that they have to click on that instructions area to get to that. Yeah, sure. Now, the other thing that you can do that Doug has suggested as well, instead of doing that so that you can avoid the confusion, you could also just create a file and name that clarification, whatever you wanted to. I'm not going to take time to do it all, but and then add that same supplementary material and publish it. Of course, now when you do that, you have to go and move it back in the milestone area. You've got to move it to where it goes. I think it ends up at the bottom. So then you would move that up to the area that you wanted to place it before. So they've got that added material. So those are two different ways that you can help supplement. And this is something, once you identify where students are having issues and you know that they're not understanding the instructions as printed or as uploaded in the instructions area, you can always go in and edit that too. But I find creating a special kind of customized section for them is much more helpful. Okay, so that's one thing. Number two is copying course information and content. I'm going into the sandbox, and I would really remind you to use the sandbox to play around with the features without worrying about screwing something up. So one of the things that you can do always when you're starting a new course is to, and most of you have probably learned this, and I realize that some of this may be redundant information. But what you do is you search for a course to copy. Now I'm going to pretend like I'm setting this up for the Art 2010 class. It can take a little while to get this stuff loaded. And I'm going to look for Art 2010. That's the class I want to copy from. Now it'll only show you the courses you've taught for that particular search that you've done. So it's not going to show all Art 2010s. So I would then maybe go to the most recent course that finished, and then I'm going to add selected. Now I don't want to add or copy all components. I want to select components. Now again, this is something to experiment with so that you know what you're copying and what to do with it. I guess it's still going. What to do with it when it has been copied. It doesn't replace anything. It always adds that same material that you copied to the very bottom of the course you're in. So even though I'm copying from one course to another, so I want to do content, which will basically give me the vast majority of the material. I don't really want to mess with any of the other stuff. Announcements is one probably everybody likes to copy over, but I always do select individual just in case, so I can customize it. Once I'm in here, now I can open up the welcomes, and my faculty bio is there. I can click the whole welcome, but I can also just do the faculty bio if I want to. Under resources again, we've got those same little areas that we always have to have that same stuff for each course. I'm just going to do all of learner to make it easy. Questions for the professor, I can do that. And then it will take me to the announcements. If I want all of them, I just select all, then I click continue, and then finish. Now I'm in my sandbox. So now when I go in there, note where it is locating this material. It is all at the bottom. So you see duplicates. So there's welcome here and there's welcome here. This is the one I uploaded. That's from my previous course that's already been updated with the information, and it only included the one I checked. So now I can simply take that, toss it into the welcome area that's in the class existent. Now I go in here. Oh, I'm sorry, hold on. Remember when you're doing that to grab the 3 bars, not the title. Now it's in there. Now I can delete this one. Yes. And then I can move this one back into the place where it was. It's a little bit of a time saver. And if you're doing, I can do the same thing with the questions to the professor. I can just move that up and then delete this entire one. And then under resources, you can do that for learner again. I can take that whole section and just toss it up into this resources area, and it will be a duplicate, so I can delete the other one. It's a way to just make things a little bit quicker when you're doing those course setups. And again, I would encourage you to try that in the faculty sandbox first so you can see what you're doing. You can also, if you're setting up like added areas for that upload and create that I just went through over here, or if you've got those extra instructions, you can actually go through and choose those specific pieces of content to upload to the new class. But you got to remember to move, you're going to be shuffling things around. It's not that difficult, but it is something, you know, it can be confusing if you don't understand where it's been located. Lastly, and I'm perfectly on time here, the search area. Now, if you're going through the learning path, which you may be doing sometimes, and I'm going to go to, say, milestone 2, and I want to go to the task 2 discussion area. Now, if you notice when I go in here, this is like entering it through the sequentially numbered, I guess that's what you call it, where you're clicking through these to navigate. Notice there's nothing here. Now, if I'm going to that same area, but I'm doing it through instructor tools, discussions, going to the exact same area, down to, oops, sorry, wrong class. So I'm going to discussions, I'm going to that same area, milestone 2, task 2. Now look what appears. You've got this little help section, or a search section that's not there when you go through the learning path. So now, let's say I want to look up my student Marcia, and now it will push anything, which is a good reason to show again why to include names in your responses, because that will show up all of your responses to that particular student. But now you can do threaded. Now that same sort by view is only going to relate to that search. So now I can go to the oldest thread first that she submitted, or her newest thread first, or the newest one that includes her name as a search. So now to get out of that, I'd have to clear that filter there. Now it's going to go back to just a normal. Now I can go to threaded, and it will include all of the students' submissions. So those are just the 3 basic things. I know it's a lot of material, but I wanted to make sure that you knew this. This is something that we had requested a long time ago through curriculum and through Doug Barkey to help us navigate these. Because, you know, scrolling through this, I don't know about you, but I have a lot of these threads are filled with images that I include for them. Scrolling through them is a pain. Anyway, it is 12:12. If you have any questions, please email. If there's any interest in doing something a little bit longer, also, we would be happy to do an hour-long session. Thank you.